Yeah, I got sign on. I give them some time. I give them time to sign in. They might be off watching Cuzzo and Stacks make fools of themselves. Cuzzo did a video, I think, like 3 days ago. He got like 127. I don't see any of it. People's. I wake up and it's in my all the shows are in my text messages. This is the problem. Keeping this thing up.
It's gonna go on in just a minute here. So get your shit ready. Obviously, we're gonna say any of their names. The Hootie advertising.
Yeah, listen. In my Pellegrino, so I got no AirPods and I'm drinking bad soda for me after the gym. Fresh, who's on here? What's good?
We're gonna go on in a second.
All right, BX, what up, brother? Look what I got going on here. I got two lovely faces. Can we do the 3-person screen again? We can't do that no more.
Mine's on 3.
Mine's not on. Mine's not on 3. How do I got to get it. Who's leaving the meeting?
Nah, it's all good.
Got it.
Where are you at?
I'm trying to get 3 people on here. What's going on? All right. What's this? Switch to the gallery. There we go. All right. We're all live now.
All right.
We got JC West Coast, M Cali on the West Coast in the mountains, and your boy Hootie. It's your boy. All right. So what's going on, fellas? What's been new? How you's been? Special guest on the Hootie live stream tonight, showing everybody when people don't cross the line and things happen where you split up, there's always a chance that you can make up and put it behind you and forgive. Certain people do things where you can't forgive and you can't forget. Our situation was different, and we're here today to let you all know that. Hopefully we do a future collab. Hopefully we can get back on track with our, things that we're doing, new projects. M. Cali, what's going on? What you been up to?
Man, I've been up to a lot. I'm just a whole lot of nothing and a whole lot of something, I guess, to say. I had a lot of bad situations happen in the last 4 or 5 months.
Really?
Yeah, my lady lost her father actually on my birthday. Her father accidentally killed at work. So we've been dealing with that over here.
Wow.
Condolences.
I remember you were going to a funeral back in Cali the last time.
My cousin. That was my cousin.
Yeah, man. Wow.
There's been a lot of deaths this last year, and un-COVID related.
Yeah. See, I've heard a lot of COVID. That's one of the saddest stories that I heard that happened at work. I'm sorry to hear that. Was he an engineer?
He did like the oil fields, but it was water mining.
Yeah.
So the equipment had some pressure, and the pressure, blew, and yada yada.
Wow. Sorry to hear that.
Appreciate that, man.
What's going on with work? You still filming, producing? What's going on?
Still doing a little bit of things. I'm actually writing my own book. I'm literally, it's a job.
Yeah.
It's a job all of its own. So
it ain't easy.
I'm about 80 pages, 80 maybe more pages deep than that, but it's good. It's good because I actually wrote it a long time ago, handwritten it, most of it, and it's just about what happened to me. So now I'm going through it and I'm adding a lot to it. And it's just it's bringing me right back. It's like opening a time machine.
Right.
So I've been doing that, and then I'm trying to get this patent project off the ground, which that's been a struggle. I've ran into some speed bumps with the financial situation with me. I've lost some money here and there, and
right.
Lost a few jobs that I was supposed to have, and so here, I'm just trying to stay afloat, pretty much. It's pretty much where I'm at right now, man.
Wow. Yeah. Well, since author, writer, mentor Denny passed, I've been doing it with another author, but now we're co-authoring it and I'm writing it. But I'm just going by chapters. I'm not going by pages because Gene's book had came out. I don't know if any of you got to read it. It was really good. It was on a bestseller. Sold great overseas. Sold great here. But they cut like 100 pages out of it. There was a lot of stuff that they left out. They left room for him to actually write another book, which, that once it goes to the editor, it's out of all our hands. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm not working like that. I'm gonna try to, publish it, get it edited, and keep everything in it. So it's been a bitch for me. And a lot of the stuff that I'm doing my whole autobiography. So it's from beginning to end. And whatever comes after, if something exciting happens in my life, then that'll be another book. But I'm trying to cover everything in this book and the research, and then having to relive it again, never speaking about things that I was told since I was 5 years old not to talk about, and having to do it now on paper, not having to, choosing to. It's hard. It's emotional. Breakdowns. Forget it. I'm going through motions to write this autobiography.
Therapy. You go through
Yeah.
therapy.
It's like giving yourself your own therapy. You know what I mean?
You know,
So,
you know what they say. I don't mean to cut you real quick,
no,
but you
no.
know what they tell you, Hootie, is that as we get older, all the stuff that we push back to the very back of our head that we try to mask and try to forget about, it starts surfacing as we start hitting our late 30s, early 40s. It starts pulling up, and we start like almost reliving it again, and then have to deal with it. Then we have to find closure with it, or otherwise it starts eating us up, and we start becoming kind of, I don't know how you want to say it, kind of, kind of crazy. So
Yeah.
you have to face it and get past it. So it's good. This is a good thing. It's a good thing you're writing. It's a good
Well,
thing you're putting
it's
together.
it's definitely eating me up. I can tell you that, and I'm not getting any closure from it yet. So I'm fighting with those demons now. But it's my
My
crosses.
mentor Joe Donato, when he told me about this very topic, he wrote his book in 1975 before it was Michael Francis, before there was a lot of these guys, before there's any of them. He was one of the first ones to step away. He handed over his rackets like you're supposed to, did the right thing, walked away, and before he passed on in 2018. He would tell me and any of the other guys that were doing stuff and lots of other kinds of gang bangers and other stuff that would talk to him that can't tell our close business partners and friends because it's dangerous to get vulnerability to any of them. So we bottle it up over the years, and eventually it comes out through addiction or sometimes being crazy in this way or that way, and then we have to figure it out, and hopefully we can rein it in. That was one of the lessons I had from Joe
Yeah,
Donato.
I mean it's a that's a good lesson to learn. It's just it's hard. It ain't easy, especially 38 years of it. You know what I mean? And now having to put it on paper, things I thought I would never talk about again that I have buried. And then what happens is, I think I got a memory like an elephant, but you start writing this stuff down or you put it on recording, all the stuff comes up that you didn't even know you forgot. And it's like, and then I hear these clowns that are online with podcasts, and I'm like, they ain't been through shit. They ain't done nothing. They didn't even start living yet. You know, I had an ex tell me once, you've been around the earth twice and back. If you die tomorrow, you shouldn't be upset at all. And when I started to do my book, and I'm like, you know what? That person was right about that. It's like there wasn't anything that I didn't do that I didn't want to do. Everything I did was because I wanted to do. Some things was because I had to do it for certain other reasons, but we all got choices. I could have chose to do something else and struggle a lot more. So it's things like that you forget about. And yeah, you know what? I lived the life of two people, and I can't complain. And I said it on my Vlad interview. If I get killed tomorrow, I can't complain. This is what I chose. I lived good, and I'm not upset about it. You know what I mean? Now I'm not. Now that I'm writing it down, now that I'm seeing it. And that's why you've seen through this whole thing. I made one episode just recently going back at somebody, and that's half of my supporters asked me to tell the story, or I would have never got involved in any drama or anything online because I just don't got time for it. Which I wanted to tell both of you, I never told you, is I ran into Michael Francis. Now, everybody knows I met Sonny once as a kid. I ran into Michael, and the guy's a gem. He was a gentleman. He was respectful. He stopped to talk to me. He was intellectual. He was intelligent. That I met that was online, and that's all. Whatever anybody has with him or doesn't have or think about him, that's on them. It has it's nothing to do with me. That's now my feelings towards him, meeting him and him being a gentleman and being a
It's called
class act
growth.
on the East
Yeah.
Coast for the first time in probably 20 something years. It was pretty cool. It was an all right day.
I call that growth. When we first started doing our podcast, or however you want to say, when we started doing the podcast, I remember some episodes we were kind of, or I guess you guys were kind of trying to figure out
the two youths.
Yeah, the two you guys are trying to figure out, making little clips and this and that. But I kind of sat back on that because, honestly, I figure in some life, you know more, you know a lot more about this life than I know. I just know people. So when I see people being successful and doing what they're doing and moving forward, I know that we want to cross that bridge one day. We don't want to burn that bridge. So you never know what could lie in the future, And we didn't know where this show was going to go. This show went to the moon and back. It could have been parallel with him, and we could have stepped into his realm and been invited. And
this is one of the only fan created shows, because remember, Hootie had made his appearance on Johnny and Gene. That one's got 100,000 views, by the way, for the audience who might be wondering. I was on the channel out here, Stories by Written Current Prisoner. That mine's got 25,000 views and 95% plus views, high ratings. Hootie was on that same channel, same similar numbers. With your stuff in Cali, any of your stuff, it was going. The power was there, and it was the fans at the time, around that time, who started watching that, who were asking, hey, they also saw Hootie on the original show. We were just sort of playing around, going and just live streaming randomly. But they saw him, they saw Gene on there, and Gene Borello is obviously one of the main reasons why this came together too. And, just so the audience doesn't know, I've talked to him and asked him about Francis, by the way, and he tells me that in most ways he sees him as a gentleman, and he respects that he was a big earner in the gas business and all that. And he's just happier now that he said Francis is a little bit more honest about his past and what the whole snitch, whatever that issue was. And that's a big difference now. And a lot of everybody out there doing this mob stuff is actually a lot more honest these days. But remember, the fans brought our show together. Gene brought our show together. And we just started messing around initially, and then it just blew up, and then we started actually paying real attention, and look where it went. We all had book deals. No matter what happened, we're book deals.
I think everybody had their place, but I also feel that JC using the technical terms and putting things together the way he did, Hootie having the moxie and the go get it and getting people together and getting them out to the show. I saw this ride. At first, I didn't know where I fit in the puzzle, but when I started seeing where this thing was going, it felt like a rocket ship. I felt like I'm looking at your background right now outside the side window. We were really starting.
No doubt,
Well, listen, you got to remember, Michael Francis was doing videos at home. They weren't mob genre, and now he's interviewing movie stars. When John and the Gene Show started during the pandemic, whatever you want to call it, there was no mob shows on. None. Zero. There was no shows that were dedicated to organized crime, Cosa Nostra, street stuff. There was prison show. There was gang shows. There was people that interviewed gangsters and not interviewed gangsters. Vlad was on the rappers and everything like that. Yeah. So,
mob show, really,
right. So when he hit, then New Theory changed their aspect of the game and totally just started interviewing people, and there was content, and I was happy with that because we put out content. We interviewed. There's nobody left to interview in this genre. We interviewed, unless another wise guy decides to change his life. We've interviewed the best, and we've peeled them back like an onion, better than any other host, any other interviewer. I've seen these people go on, and they go to the best guys that you can have in front of you. So tell us about yourself. We already know about them. Ask them the questions that you know from being in the streets that they don't know about themselves. But nobody can do that because these guys are just on gossiping, no content, getting zealous actors from old gangster movies to come on, which is ruining their resume, and their credibility. They're going on a show of a guy that's never been a nobody in the streets that just decided to start interviewing people from their people's basements and living rooms. You know what I mean? And that's why my channel didn't fall off. Why am I going to put out? I turned around, I looked around, and I said, holy shit, I'm the only guy that's putting out Cosa Nostra content. There's no Cosa Nostra content. So let me waste my million-dollar ideas on my book on content that I'm gonna get nothing but bad feedback on from trolls.
Right. Right.
Now, if everybody was on doing the show and telling the truth, then I wouldn't mind. But now look, if everybody thinks Francis, which I don't care if the guy is entertaining people, if he's lying, if he's telling the truth, he was a gentleman. I respect him and I respect this game. Because everybody in this genre is lying now. They're all bean shooters.
Yeah.
They're all bean shooters. There's nobody on here telling the truth. Because they're not criminal. They weren't ex-criminals. What'd they do? They did drugs. They're ex-addicts. Maybe they sold a few drugs in their lifetime. What'd they do? They got nothing to write home about. You know what I mean? And I've seen that.
Maybe they're selling donuts.
On the highway with the fake highway mob. That's what I call them, the fake highway mob. On the highway.
It's like what the cartel used to say to guys when they'd warn them. They'd be like, "You better watch out, homie, or you'll be out on the side of the road selling oranges."
Yo, that's pretty terrible that the cartel would stereotype their own people.
Well, Jay.
Every elitist in one group, or the rich ones in the group, they look down upon, or that's how they belittle. Though you're right. Same thing with Cosa Nostra guys with Italian dudes that they see as bums and they're kicking them out. They warn them like that too. Shit.
All right. Look, if you end up with a dishwasher job at the local pizzeria, they'll tell you.
What about your boy William Shatner? That fool went to space and back.
What is
98 years old.
Yo, is he 98 or 88?
Or 91. He's old, dude. He's like in his 90s. Like 91, maybe. 92. He's somewhere around there. That fool went to space and back. I'm like,
I'm looking for him still.
I heard that
I was hoping to see him.
When you watch all these documentaries and this stuff on Discovery and they show you the physical test that you have to pass to be able to fly into space, you got to be like a 22-year-old full-blown athlete with 1% body fat. That's what they make it out to be. And this guy is flying into space. How did he survive that?
I think they just went to. I think he went to the orbit, or probably to the top, to the crest or whatever, and then came back down.
Yeah, but still, don't you?
I think they took him to the room B at NASA and set up a nice set, and then took him around a few times and said he was in the space shuttle, and then had him pop out. Disembarking.
A lot of people believe that's what they did with 1969, since we ain't never been able to go back there.
Yeah, that's what they did. It was all smoke and mirrors. It was straight Hollywood. Hollywood's been involved with that for a long time. So don't think Steven Spielberg hasn't made Wag the Dog clips for the Clintons or anybody else. It just so happens every time something crazy happens, there'll be a fight of jets blowing up something that draws our attention away from what's really going on. They've been doing this stuff for a long time.
So
there's more important things in the world, like me finding this old Dodgers thing played. Considering the Dodgers won yesterday, playoff game.
You must be lost. I believe that was. I think they played today. But yeah, they won yesterday.
They won yesterday.
They played today.
I know. I know, but they haven't played yet, so I'm still in victory mode.
Oh, okay. Well, why are you a Dodgers fan? I thought you were a Giants fan.
Hell to the now.
I thought because he was in San Fran, right? I figured he was in San Fran. He was a Giant fan.
Yeah. No, you know what though? 49ers for football though, because in my area it's right in between the two. So some people were like LA Rams or LA Raiders at the time, and the Dodgers.
What you're saying is
some were Giants, Niners, and some. Don't you dare make. I know where you're going with this, and I ain't gonna let you say that joke on me.
You go both ways.
I knew that's exactly where you were going.
He plays for both teams, huh?
He plays for both teams.
No. That's two different sports. Guys.
Well, listen,
I'm not playing on two teams then because it's two different sports.
I haven't been too big into the sports itself. I've been doing sports cards.
Not a bad reaction, huh, McCallie? I bet you ain't never heard that one.
I'm sure no one's ever heard that one.
Thought of it, right?
So I'm not big into the sports, but my new venture's been sports cards. I haven't made any money at it yet, but I'm hopefully trying to get my, work my magic to turn this into a sports card platform, because it's like the stock market. There's big money in it right now, and this genre, it's not gonna. Listen, I said it from the beginning. out of these guys that thought they had content, I'm gonna be the last man standing. I'm saying, and I'm still saying it. They're folding like lawn chairs right now, and some of them are starting over. Some of them are like season 4. Some of them are trying to find other people's book to tell stories, and others are even taking down their videos because they know their co-hosts or hosts have been shooting stories. You know what I mean? So I knew it from the beginning. If I keep it real, if I tell the truth and I tell my story and nobody else's, I'll still be here, So getting to that is now you at least you got a football team in Vegas, buddy. You got some
That's right.
football out there now. At least you got the Raiders there.
That's been my
Oakland.
team. That's been my team since 1980. I have family members that were in that
I
league.
remember you saying that. That's why I was
Of
bringing it up.
course, of course. And as far as your baseball collecting excuse me, sports card collecting goes, we talked about that too. I have about 10 cards I've been collecting. I go and I'll order them online because you can't find them during COVID. You couldn't go to a store and get them, so you had to order them online. But that Justin Herbert that I have, it was worth $500 about 3 months ago.
You got what?
Before
You
my
got Justin Herbert's rookie.
Yep.
You get that
I
thing.
go.
You got that. You get Justin Herbert rookie graded. It's worth. You put a couple zeros at the end of that 500.
Yeah, I know. He's
If it's
blowing
if
up.
it's
Watch.
if it's his rookie, forget about he's blowing up. He's already blown up.
Yeah, I know. That card was worth $500 last year.
Yeah, forget about last year. That card's probably worth 5,000. You should let me look at it one day. I'll take a peek at it, and I'll tell you where to send it in to get it graded. And you keep that thing, and it's gonna do nothing but gather you money. There's actually places you can send that card to, and that card can make interest for you.
There we go.
Justin Herbert's a no joke card. I've been in the game
Joe
now.
Burrows too. I have Joe Burrows too. He's
Oh,
looking great, too.
listen to me. You got 2 cards, and you put all my one card. One of your cards put all. I just started in August, and you already got better cards than me. I couldn't even compete with a Burrows or a Herbert right now. I just picked up a LeBron rookie, but it's not a big deal LeBron rookie.
Well, I got the LeBron rookie for my godson when he was a rookie, and that card is worth. I think I looked at it anywhere from 28 to 56,000. But that's not my card though. That's
Yeah, there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of the rookies. It must be a real special one.
Right. The one that I got, it ranges anywhere from 28 to 56. So I
Right.
didn't say it's worth about 28.
I wish I knew about this sports card stuff when I was in the game. I would have been buying everything up because it was all dirt cheap until about
But
2 years
it all
ago.
died out. It was like this when I was a kid, and then it just flattened and it died out.
Yeah,
And
well,
now it's
we just didn't do it.
now it's like this.
Yeah, well, we just didn't do it. So
Right.
if I would have just took some money back, say in 2010, and buried 100,000 in sports cards, it'd be worth 10 million today.
Oh, for sure.
10 million. You just went out and buy a bunch of Jordan rookies. They were selling for like $1,000, $500.
Kobe Bryant, all those people.
You know what's crazy? There's Kobe Bryant probably had one of the best careers out of anybody in the NBA, and there's guys like Duke. This guy Duke, right? What's his name? Luca. He's
Yeah, Luka.
yeah, forget it. His cards go through the roof. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like Kobe Bryant had this stellar career, and his cards sell for more than Bryant's cards.
But it's because there's not as many of them. That's how they started
Right.
doing
They were
it.
like, because they make all these special autos with patches and different companies and everything like that. Like, listen, I'm just getting the literature on all this stuff now. I'm doing it by myself. I'm trying to launch the business as soon as I get back to work. I'm in an LLC City Line Cards, and we'll see what happens. I haven't been able to buy or sell. I just been trading, trying to trade the small cards up to a big card.
Right, of course.
Nowhere near a Justin Herbert. I'm late to the game. I came in after COVID, like I said, August. If I would have got in maybe right before.
Basketball cards seem to be the ones that are worth the most, though, right now. And that's been the story for the last, I don't know, since end of Jordan's career.
Yeah.
Those have been the most expensive cards to get.
Listen, Steph Curry's got cards that are worth $3 million right now. $3 million. But if you're old school and these guys were finding. I just met a guy at a show in Long Island. He found a Jackie Robinson and a mantle in his attic. He was about 78 years old, and he was getting them graded. They were in bad shape. A Jackie and a Mick. You get a Bowman Mickey Mantle. God only knows what kind of condition it's in. It could go through the roof. You can hit $1 million.
Listen, Hootie, I had all those cards. My mom was a dopehead, heroin addict. She sold them all. She stole my cards and sold. I had all those. I had Roberto Clemente's. I had 2 Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, John Drew. It was like a 3-piece card. I had
Oh, Julius, sorry, you know how much money that card's worth right now? I see my friend, an acquaintance of mine had it at a show, a few of them, but not even a 10. A 10 is worth maybe $100,000, maybe even more. Wow, that's a big card. It
It
was
was
Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and Julius Erving.
I don't think it was Julius. It was another. I think it was John Drew or some other
No, no,
guy.
I
It
think it
wasn't.
was yeah, I think it was Julius Erving. Those were the three.
Yeah, it's a three. It was a three card though. Yeah, and
Yeah,
I had so many cards. You'd be Mickey Mantles, Hank Aaron's, or Willie Mays. I had cards like you wouldn't even believe, man. It was crazy.
that's good. Listen, I just there was nobody.
It was good. You know, that lady took them,
You know,
sold them.
the other crazy part about it all is there's Pokemon cards that are outselling sports cards,
I know it's crazy.
and
Cards are
I
crazy.
remember that like yesterday because I had people that were around me that had kids and nephews and god kids that they were buying those sets for back in the 90s, and I'm like, what is this? You know, and they're like, oh, it's just this game, and they play it throughout Asia. They use the cards, and I think the biggest name I heard was Pikachu. Now it's this Charizard sells for $1 million. The Shadow Second Edition. I don't. It's insane. It's insane what I've learned.
I tell you what, Hootie, your energy, man. I lost all the interest in doing this. Your energy sparked some interest again. And no offense to JC, it's just everyone's energy's different. Everyone brings something different to the table.
Yeah,
JC melancholy, you know, and me, I'm in between too. I'm just like I roll. Your energy's high strung,
yeah.
but in a good way. Your energy's live. It's like vibrant. So I appreciate being here with both of you guys again. It's
I appreciate you saying that. I kind of you try to bring that to the table with everything that I do, and if I do something, I want to be passionate about it. Ask JC. I said if we ain't gonna do this right, we got to get M Cali. I'm not doing it. Right? I said we got if I'm gonna do it, I want to give everybody and everything I do 110%. And some people take certain things. It's like, listen, I'm not in recovery. I never did drugs. I don't have a drug problem. If I feel like having and drinking a bottle of scotch or with a young lady I'm out drinking and I feel like going live, I could do that. I don't care that I got to be 100% on point all the time. When I'm focused
Don't
in,
even pay attention because
no, no, no. What I'm just saying is that
I've had like a
I'm not
Heineken
even
here
talking
and
about
there,
the
and then
trolls.
they use
I'm not even
stupid
talking about the
alcohol.
trolls. I'm talking about personal.
Haters always do that, and it's like even when you're in a tasteful situation, you could be out at $1,000 a plate kind of restaurant with violins, and they see a bottle of champagne. Aha! You're
Yeah.
alcohol.
But listen, I'm not even talking.
You.
Forget about the trolls. I'm talking about people that were in my circle talking shit, and
No,
I'm
I
just
know.
and
There's
sending
too.
and
Guess what? They
getting
listen
me
to
and
trolls.
actually
They
getting
listen to
getting
trolls.
losing positions and getting me shut out of projects that were coming up that we were gonna do together. And it's like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? Just because you do, or maybe your friend has, that doesn't mean
Yeah.
that's who I am.
Well,
When
well,
I
also,
when
you
I'm
know
on
what?
my
There's so
game,
many
when I'm
regular
doing it,
people,
I'm
and yeah,
110%. But if I'm
yeah.
laying back and I'm chilling and I feel like throwing my phone on a lot, that's my business. I'm not working. I'm not getting paid to do that. Everything I do, like now I'm going to this sports, I'm giving it 110%. When I went back into the podcast and I was doing my own show, I was giving them 100% content. Yeah, you know what? My channel, I didn't fall off. I got tired of when I looked around, nobody was giving Cosa Nostra content. So why would I? I'm watching these shows about jail, and half of them suck. And they're not even talking about the real deal shit that's going on in prisons. They're making people think and believe this is what's going on. And I'm like, how the fuck does this guy got 50,000 subs? Which I'm not jealous. I don't care about that. But I'm trying to figure where the people's minds are at that they're subscribing to things like this. And you know what it made me come to? People want to be told lies. You remember being in a relationship, with certain, listen,
Yeah.
just real quick how it goes. Being in a relationship with a certain woman and you tell her the truth all the time. And all she says is, oh, that's a lie, that's a lie. And then you say, all right, I'll tell you a lie. And then she'll believe the lie. It's like, you just want entertainment. You want fantasy. You don't want the truth. It's like, what is wrong with you people? You just want the truth, or you just want. Then if you just want the gossip channel, go to TMZ or Wendy Williams. Sign on to somebody, or what's her name? Whatever her name is, the gossip girl from Hot 97.
Hootie, why are you holding your phone up? I'm
I'm on a live.
She's live streaming.
I'm
She's
live
streaming
streaming.
too. Yeah.
I know, but it's reflecting of the screen of the. It's not. I don't see anything on it.
What do you mean? It's because it's facing you. It's a blank
Hey,
screen.
you know what it's triggering?
You want to see?
do
Look,
that,
you'll see the
Hootie?
comments. See the comments?
Hey,
Got you.
Hootie, you know you triggered him because you know how when you're in the joint, guys will use mirrors to show off where it's going around the other corner. you triggered
A
Macaulay's
flashback?
prison
Did we
days.
catch a flashback?
I hate locked doors.
He's sending a flyer.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, like, listen, I was actually talking about, I'm gonna start, doing some prison stuff because I'm tired of hearing a lot of this phony shit. Anybody that I know that joins a gang in prison, it's because they're scared. They can't, if you're a real deal guy, you go to
No
jail,
doubt.
you stand on your own 2 feet. Or if you're in a gang, that's who you run with. And I don't know anybody that joined a gang because that's what they wanted to do when they got to prison. They wanted to be accepted, they wanted to be a part of something, or they were scared. Guys think people go to jail and join gangs because that's what they wanted to do their whole life.
No, but going back to what you're talking about with the stations, and you say that people would like to be lied to. What people really like to is they're breakneckers, they're neck snappers, and when they see a car accident on the side of the road, they're slowing down, they're trying to see it. It's everyone wants to hear someone else's shit in order to forget their own, and that's what people do. That's the nature of society.
Yeah.
So
Rubbernecking. We're rubbernecking. We're rubbernecking on YouTube.
That's it. That's exactly.
I
what
get
it
so
was.
aggravated. I don't get road rage. I let people cut me off. I let people get in. It doesn't bother me whenever I get there. The one thing I can stand is when there's a traffic on the other side going the other way, and it's causing traffic on the side that I'm driving, and there's no accident. It's like what? It's because everybody's stopping to look to see what happened.
They're all rubbernecking, exactly. And that's
Crazy.
what people do in life. That's why people watch the Wendy Williams. That's why they watch the Montel and all those shows like that, because all that drama, it makes them forget about their own. Man, people got it worse than I do, you know?
Yeah, but I'm putting out content for grown men. Everybody says help. No, I'm putting it out for men that are in the streets, men that are in jail, men that are coming home from jail, men that are in the life, that they can see that, you know what, it's okay if you get out. It doesn't look bad if you go to work for minimum wage. It doesn't look bad if you take off the suits and put a hoodie on. You're good. You don't have to live like that anymore. That's what my show's about. That's what my content's about. You know what I mean? So if you're not willing to, now, if you want to use it for entertainment, that's fine. But it's also, for people to take lessons and learn from so they don't make the mistakes that I unfortunately made. And I just can't get it how you rather listen to a guy who's never been through it talk about all the guys that have been through it. It just doesn't make sense.
That's the beauty of the internet, man.
It's the nature of the beast that we jumped on here, right?
Exactly.
So JC, what's going on with you with projects? We haven't really spoke about projects. We've only been speaking about a reunion.
That's funny, huh?
What'd you say? Listen to projects? What'd you say?
Yeah, he moved out the projects. My mom's old house.
Wait, do they got projects in Cali? Or they're guarding houses? Are they guarding houses?
Not the same as East Coast.
No, they're not the same. The projects are more people who are newer to the country from Asia or Latin America end up there.
Low income.
I'm actually in the writing the book now. What I'm going to be focusing on are a few major things in an overview. The great thing about all this YouTube stuff is it allowed me to introduce myself, Macaulay as well. Hootie had a little bit more of a jump start, having had a case that ended up in the newspaper years ago. Probably not the jump start you would have wanted.
No, definitely not.
But and then we all had really good jumping point kind of interviews, as I mentioned with Hootie being on John and Gene, then Macaulay's had his. I've had some as well, and so we were originally just messing around with this, and obviously it took, and so I'm writing. I'm focusing in on the There's going to be a few different books actually that I'm going to end up writing, but initially it'll be more just telling an overview of the different stages that I went through, criminal life stages, from the petty stuff that everybody starts off with going into the bigger things, you know, and then getting going from there.
Actually sounds good. I see. Listen, I've been watching your videos, and it's crazy because you watch like trolls and other people that are trying to be podcasters that don't really even put their real names out there, go at people,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh my god, what are we, like in fifth grade with those remarks? And then they hear you, the way you go at people. I think some of them even got to think like, is he insulting me? Like they don't even understand the intellectual that you use to insult them. You know what I mean? And it's a shame. It's a shame because I would. It's a shame because I would love people to see those videos from an intelligent standpoint that you're making them from, and they're not getting as much play as these guys because you're not literally a little kid who's beefing with everybody on podcast. You know what I mean?
He should change his name to Gateway J.
And you know what? This
Yeah,
name here,
yeah, he's been going in on you since he got here.
you know, this name here is
Like Gateway
it
Drive.
just some randomly selected one. And by the way, for the trolls that are watching,
Yo, Ryan, what's good?
what's great about one reason why I went ahead and put that
Cannon, what's good? Richie, what's good?
is the publisher wanted me to get out and just do stuff throughout the summer and take the flack, like not using the name that I'll be using when I write my book, you dumb clown. For all you bozos that made videos that have 1,000+ views against me, once I go from JC West Coast back to the names I used in the street, the actual ones, you can rest assured, sure the hell wasn't JC West Coast. That's giving away too much.
What's up, Wolf?
Name, back to the DEA here, and yeah, I'm talking to JC West Coast. No, shit, that just half the battle's done already. So once I write it with my real name, all of your troll videos are useless because you dissed a guy by the name of JC West Coast. So all summer, and also the publishing company wanted to really see if anyone from my past, they won't tell you this, but they want to see if anyone from your past is going to show up and question what you're doing and your stories. And obviously only a few dudes that did pop up actually reinforced him and said, yeah, I can't believe that he fucking made it through some of the stuff that I knew he was doing. I thought he was dead by now. So, I thought he would have been killed years ago, but he made it. Okay.
Listen,
So
I've had a lot of people, including teachers, that thought I'd be dead or spending the rest of my life in prison but the only thing that kept them aware that I was still alive was keep making the news.
yeah, they're like,
They kept seeing me in the news.
This meeting collect.
Yeah. They kept seeing me in the news, and they're like, "Oh, he's still alive." But listen,
Maybe there'll be a part two
I
where
mean,
I get killed, guys,
if-
but I don't count on it.
if-
Don't count on
if-
a part two where I get killed.
hopefully,
I'll make it through a few rounds of this one.
Hopefully-
But yeah, so,
hopefully,
Hey, you know what's great though, Hootie?
What's that?
And McGalley too. None of these other guys that are out there now have even a remote shot of what Gene got, what we're getting, because when our shows were out there, other than Calandra, of course, because he's an exception because he had some real, ties to the old school, but most of these guys, they don't have links to the old school like you have a great, you had mentors. I did. Gene. John Halide even has, can say he was around the, Gotti Senior. We all have ties to the old school. Most of these guys that are doing these mob shows, they don't. They were never, and you can tell by the way they act, by the way, that they were never taught these valuable lessons about real life that we had been taught when we were younger. They won't get what we got. They're not going to have book deals. Calandra will be the
Mikey
exception.
Griggs, it's good.
He's a real gentleman, He's a real guy.
It's funny you say that though, Jay, because a lot of the people we interviewed, I had a lot of respect for, especially John Halide.
Yeah, Monster is a great guy. Yeah, all of them.
Kind of bad way for a minute, but man, I have nothing but respect for those guys, man. Even though, there's one part of it, everyone will say, well, they did this. I know they did that, and I understand that's where they're at, and they're rehabilitating themselves right here, right now. But the point is,
as I told that Mob Rats Exposed troll, I told him when that hey, A-Light. When I've asked A-Light himself, the one time I did speak to him about this, a little bit, you know, he had PTSD, and that's
What's up,
enough
Mug?
right there. He went to a Brazilian prison and
What guy,
whatnot,
Mugs?
and that's going to cause people to sometimes say
Who's still
things that they
stalking?
didn't do. I'm not excusing it at all, and I told him directly that I thought it was a bad, you know, move to do any exaggerating because his life is exciting enough. Same thing with all of ours. Ours aren't even at his level of
I love what you
excitement.
talk.
But compared to regular people, our lives are exciting enough. We don't need to exaggerate, and we
Mugs, who
want
you
those
talking
people
about?
to real. You know,
Listen, just real quick, because and I say this a lot. If we're on here and we're talking about our crimes and we're talking about what other people do, we're civilians, we're rats, we're no good in the eyes of guys on the street, okay? That's just the way it goes, right? That's why I try to tell my story most of the time. So now that I'm looking at everything from a civilian standpoint, you don't have to respect the person's game. You know how, like, I'm Cali saying, I love what so and so is doing. Listen, I got nothing against anybody's game. Now, as a civilian, I'm a person who don't know them to have anything against them. You get what I'm saying? I can't. Now, when you're in the streets and you're running the streets and you live in that life, yeah, you make opinions on people. Of course. I'm a civilian. I get up, I go to work every day. I don't commit crimes, so it has no bearing on me what that guy did in his past. But now I got to respect the guy's game with 50,000 viewers, with a million, watch hours a month or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Those I got to respect that. I'm not gonna respect the guy's game who's been on for a year and he's got 3,000 subs and he does 5,000 views a month. No, no, and I don't have to and it's just like sports.
He's tried to be a rapper. He's tried to be,
Yeah.
he's tried to do a bunch of other stuff. He's tried to be a mobologist.
Yeah.
And the guy has like 180, subs. Those
So-
types of guys, 200 subs. Those guys are clowns.
You get somebody from these guys get people from TV on their show and they get 270 views in a week, and I'm like, no. So I respect the next person's game. It doesn't make a difference how I feel of them as a person. I don't feel anything for any of them as a person because I don't know them that way. But if their game is good, their numbers are good, and they're making money at what they're doing, you got to respect their game. People aren't mature enough to understand that.
One of my mentors had said that, Donato, he had said that he had told me one of the easiest ways to tell who's telling the truth about what they did back in the day is look how their lives are now. It's going to be a reflection of how they are now.
Mugs, you're nuts.
I describe myself as mid-level. I'm a middle-class regular dude now, when you look at, how they hold themselves and everything, there's lots of things, but like,
I just have to say, though, I respect everybody across the board.
Southie, what's good?
Then, and he's a billionaire now, right?
And anybody that's showed me respect.
Appreciate you, Joe. Smoke it up.
And Hootie over here, I was 100 with him, even when the show ended. I was still 100 with him, and I kept it 100 with him.
Yeah, I reached out. I spoke. You reached out. We spoke. Yeah,
I've always had respect.
Listen.
I had 100 with Jay too. I'll speak my mom and tell it how it is. I don't cross the line and try to fire anything up. I just want to get a point across so everyone can open their eyes and see what we're looking at, and that's it. Because that's all that matters at the end of the day.
And I remember you telling me that every time we spoke. You were like 100%. Jay's my boy. That's where I'm at with him, and I'm good with you, and I'm gonna stay over here and do this, but we're okay. You made that known from the beginning, and I respected that. I just wanted to make sure the right information got into Jay's ear before he crossed the lines in videos, because then he started mentioning people's names, and then I mentioned that person's name, and that person thinks I mentioned that their name first. And it didn't happen like that. And there's not a video out there at me going at the West Coast Connection at all. There's not a video of me going at anybody besides the one video I just did the other day, alive, about some junkie in his mother's basement. You know what I mean? That lies on one video, doesn't tell the truth on another, and got people on there, which must be his people that he pays, telling them that they love him and he's the greatest. It's the sickest shit I ever seen in my life. And then people catch him in lies in interviews, and then he says another story in another interview, and people still watch people like that. It doesn't resonate with me. I don't know.
Well, even on the back end, whatever me and you conversated about, you're trying to get your point across. That went across me.
JC and M. Cali,
I would
special
tell
guest
JC,
co-host, reunion.
I would tell JC the same thing, though. Just
That's who
make
we
sure,
talking to.
good was Dennis Griffin. You know, before he passed away from the
It's M. Cali at
unfortunate
the
thing.
bottom. My boy M.
You know,
Cali.
Denny Griffin. You know, he had said that. You know, he's all you and Hootie are like Daniel LaRussa and Johnny Lawrence. You know, both good karate master types, but you're being pitted at each other. And he's like, I don't know what the deal is, but based on my experience as an older guy, I'd say that you guys, you know, something that's between you doesn't need to be there, and that's how that, you know. And he's always had said, don't take it too far with them, and research it thoroughly and give it some time for the real stuff to come out and for your attitudes to you know, to go from boiling back down and then see where things are once you have the you know, once you have some more facts on the table and some other stuff. And then I started to see that, hey, guess what? You know, the troll types were
George
not
Reeves.
just working on me and
Good looking dude.
and whatnot. But hey, Jimmy, there's trolls that were working on Calandra and pitting him against Larry Mazza. There's Jimmy Calandra versus Gunner. That whole thing was literally instigated from the ground up. Jimmy Calandra had nothing to do with Gunner Lindblom in the slightest. And it would happen because of IG trolls. Same thing with some of the other guys out there. Gene Borello was being instigated into a few. They were hoping to get him to do something to get him arrested so they could have some short-term entertainment at his expense. And so once I started to see what was happening, that's when, you know, and another one I want to thank is Gene Borello. I was doing a live stream from the Silver Legacy, you know, sports book there in Reno this summer, and I had people starting to try to put batteries into my back. And he called me up out of nowhere, and he's like, I'm not able to talk to John Adlight. I can't talk to Hootie because, you know, or anybody else who has cases in the past, whatever. Nobody that I can talk to is telling me anything. I just got out the joint, you know, after the last few months being held. I don't know what the hell's going on. Will you at least tell me what's happening? And then from there, I said, all right, I walked out the casino, and it ended up an hour-long conversation. And he was really very much a peacemaking kind of person. He was like, well, what do we got to do to make this solve? He was never saying anything negative towards me or Hootie or whatever, any of us. He was literally in the dark trying to bend the fence as quick as possible and at least make it neutral, and then it went from there. So you guys out there who think Gene's this bad person, I see a lot of trolls that are on this camp or that camp. They say this about him, and he's going to court on the 14th of November, as we know. You know what? Just have you know, he prevented a situation from possibly happening. Probably one of in real life, because Hootie and I aren't really violent people, but he still kept something else from happening, or something new coming from trolls of ours in particular, who were starting to go at it in ways that Hootie and I were not even aware of. I was being made, you know, aware of later on. So Gene is not quite what these haters try to make him out to be. I know firsthand about that.
Oh, everybody should jump on Amazon and get his book. It's a bestseller right now. The price dropped on it. Go on there, buy his book, read it, and then give you a review on it. I did a review on it. I wrote my review on Amazon. You should go out and get. And I want to dedicate this reunion to Denny Griffin, both of our mentors in the author and writing. He was a great man. He was ex-law enforcement. He did a total background on me before we even sat down, before we even wrote a book. Denny, when everything blew up, Denny acted like he never even heard anything. We just kept rolling with the book. He came into New York. We were working together. We were about to really get into, you know, the middle of the book, and then he passed. And to him and his family, you know, nothing but love and respect. Denny was a great, great man. One of the greater men that I met in my life. Just when we were about to meet in person, he passed away. And to his daughter, who I was in contact with all the time, and God rest his soul, he was a great, great human being. And you know, he taught me a lot in the short time that I'm able to pick up where we left off, and actually recommended my co-author, who is Sonova Cantrell, and we're writing it together. And you know, it's gonna still hit the publisher, by 2022, and the book should be out. Same, by the end of the year, it should be out sometime in 2022. So I just want to this reunion and this show dedicated to Denny Griffin, who's a great man.
I concur.
Real quick with Denny too.
I'm gonna change devices here in a minute. I gotta take my daughter to so
all right.
So I'm gonna change devices. I'll hit you guys back.
Hey, it wouldn't be a show if M. Cali wasn't doing something mobile. Yeah. It wouldn't be a real reunion if he wasn't trying to do something, or if we were looking at a blank wall.
It's only 2/3 of a reunion.
Or if we were looking at a blank wall.
It's like Nirvana without their drummer.
I'll see you in a minute.
It's like any. Listen, it's like any. It's like any. What's his name? Dave Grohl. It's like any '90s rock band without Dave Grohl. Wasn't he like in every band? Right? Who was that? Foo Fighters or something? Right, that's his name, right? Dave Grohl, right? That's the guy.
Real quick with Denny, he did the same thing, and he sent me an email about what we needed to do, and when he was interviewing me about it, he was like, "So, tell me something that would totally sway that you're this genius kid that beat the DEA," and so I explained to him how I took CB radio antennas and put them onto cars, and I plugged the coax into the base or the handset of cordless phones, and I would drive in front of homes and see if my antenna could make contact with their cordless phone base stations, which means I get to call from their phones, which means the FBI, the DEA aren't going to be able to wiretap my calls. And I explained exactly how it worked.
Yeah.
He was like, he's all, I was punching.
You're right, Nick.
As you're explaining this, and he's all, there's nothing on this at all. He's all, I know what you did though. It's called analog spoofing, and it's a technical term. I don't know how to do all that kind of crazy stuff now.
Appreciate that, David Jr.
But yeah, he was like, okay.
Yeah, no, that's what he was. That's the type of guy he was. He did his homework, JC. He did his homework.
And it's not on there now even. And I had an ex-Russian hacker convicted by the FBI, never snitched on his Russian mob pals. I had him take a look at my method, and he told me.
Brown Jug, James Anderson, you're still there. Wow.
He said flat out, the Thieves World we're not doing that level of shit. And he thought I just happened to get lucky and figured it out kind of thing. But then he was like, no, okay, he explained the tech. So, Denny Griffin, though, was like, all right, we're good. Then he looked at my arrest record, of course, and all that stuff, too. But, Denny Griffin, a real guy. And
never batted an eye with me.
The guys who interviewed Denny Griffin, they didn't get book deals. The proof is in the pudding.
That's right. 100%. And let me tell you something. And the publishers listened to Denny, because he never batted an eye with me, and we stood working. No one ever ruined any deal for me. Now I'm self-publishing with a co-author, and just so I don't know if people know on your channel or even some people into my live, there is somebody out there with my owl and my 1991, my whole logo jumping in people's lives. I don't go into anybody's live. So when you see people in there arguing, which I don't argue with trolls, I don't talk about people, I don't entertain nothing. Nobody's leasing any space in my brain, in my mind, in my head, or anything else. So when you see me in a chat room and you see him going at other people that aren't even on, I'll show you guys the monetized record when you can tell what everybody's watching. And those people aren't even, they're all the way at the bottom. They're not even close in watch time with me. So I would never be in their chat rooms, even if I was on YouTube, but I don't go on YouTube. Guys send me clips. I wake up the next morning, I see them, I see who's talking about me. So in those chat rooms, it's never me. Whoever it is, it's somebody else causing problems, starting trouble. So I don't need to hear people saying, yo, Hootie, stop focusing on them.
Idiots that don't know that already, too, that have been arguing with these troll profiles.
No, I actually had somebody who was a big supporter.
For 2-3 months, arguing, that's like arguing with a scarecrow, people, okay? That's how lame it really is at the end of the day. If you're that dumb that you can't figure out that that's not actually him. I've had people do that with mine too, actually.
Well, no, listen, I had a big supporter. actually
That to the
DM me.
fans, you know, they're not
What's up,
mimicking
Chris?
another guy, so it's all good.
Yeah, no, but you know what it was? I had a big
Yeah.
I had a big supporter of the show, and he had a group of people from the city he's from that like my content, and he kept DMing me, Hootie, tell me that that's not really you going at this kid. I'm like, what do you? I'm like, I'm in my bed watching TV. I think I was watching a flick or something. I don't know. And I'm like, bro, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not even on YouTube. My phone's not even on. What are you talking about? And he's like, come on, prove it to me. This guy's a supporter. I'm like, I gotta prove it to you that it's not me. You know what I mean? And I called the guy up. I was half asleep. I was watching TV, you know? And it's like, I got to prove to people that are in my, you know, that support my channel that it's not me in these groups fighting with terrible podcasters. I wouldn't even think about being in these guys' podcasters.
You're like, I thought you knew me better than that, man.
That's exactly how I was. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Roll around in the mud with this bump.
I'm like, you think I'd stay up that late to actually argue with that imbecile?
To get beat up in my own house.
You're right. Wise Guy TV, good to see you. Wise Guy TV is talking about you, JC. Wise Guy TV likes you. At least you don't block. Never. Jojo, I've never blocked one person, and the negative comments and questions, I actually read them out if you just can't see them. Because I want you to hear it. I want the Hootie platform and the Hootie channel and the Hootie Social Club to be an open book. We're going to wear it on my sleeve. Appreciate that, Mikey. Now I do.
Okay.
It wouldn't be you if you weren't mobile.
Right.
Yeah, he started off, but actually, you know what? The very first show with Gene, he was wearing.
Jojo, you're crazy.
The very first show with Gene, he had he was wearing that COVID mask walking through the mall, and they're in Vegas, and we're like, yeah, it looks like he's about to rob Walmart.
I've been in my second Walmart ever just recently. My second Walmart ever. I've only been to one. It was a few years back. I've been to my second one now, finally. I don't know if I'm a Walmart guy.
You a Target guy now?
No, Target.
He upgraded. Right?
I never. No, I think you know what they did open a few Targets around where I live, but I never really went to them. I don't know. I'm just not a department store guy. If I want something, I go to the store that has it and I get it. You know, and if it's anything else, Amazon's pretty good for that.
Right.
But
Got you.
my shopping hasn't stopped.
When that interview was out, that was the tipping point.
Was that?
That was the tipping point.
Nah, that was Zoom. All right.
Yeah, that was the tipping point when we had to wear masks. That's when that happened. That's when it was okay. They made it okay to walk into the banks and walk into the stores with a damn mask on.
Yeah.
You looked like you were ready to definitely withdraw some money. You had one of those black masks on that looked a little bit less COVID and more,
Right?
but we're all good. And you're like, hey, I'm not casing the place. It's all good.
All right, fellas. Sign on to the JC West Coast Connection live, and we'll finish talking on there. I'm gonna sign off this live. We're at an hour. We got 37 people. I'm actually embarrassed by that, but the 37's appreciated, and I'm glad that at least one tuned in. But this was probably the weakest live I ever had. I'm sure.